So anyway, here's part 1, 2, 3. I think this is part 4. And as you can see, my pencil is getting pretty low on this. So if I want to continue this, but of course it accomplished its goal. So what I'm going to do now is I use my blending stump on this, and I want to go back in now. As again, as you can see me, my head is going to be doing one of these things back and forth, just to make sure that I can get what I want. Okay, so I'm going to come in here now. This is going to allow me to do my deepest values. And I can really push my pencil. But of course, when you push your pencil, just remember that what you're doing, you're going to use a lot of lead. As you can see that right there. You can already see the difference right there. And if you need to, but you also can see I'm using my pencil too. I'm not so you can kind of see what's happening here. I'm able to get some really good dark, there. I'll come in here, and I think at this point it's like if you're trying to get those values, and you're going to start losing lines here too. And you're just gonna, this is where you really want to deepen those values, because you can kind of see just by me looking back and forth, covering that, I'm able to get some really good rich color out of this. And you can see him really popping forward. So the more you work these values, and it shows really good up on the screen, it makes like the jaw here. When I'm looking here and I'm looking here, this is getting really close. So I'm going to be doing one of these things. Like that. And of course we know that comes up like so. You have to decide how far you want to take this too. You can't just, let me smooth that this way. You can't just, continue and continue and continue, because you could continue this thing to death. And that's not the purpose of these. All we're doing today is I'm just taking a little bit of time and going through here and darkening up the values that I see. You can see my head, the way it moves, So this will be, here we go, I'm going to come this way here and pull that down here. This is actually a really dark value. And you start seeing that the sketch itself, where I drew, kind of starts disappearing, doesn't it? So I can come here and, there's some hair back there, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's so darkened that it wouldn't make any difference. So you can kind of start seeing how he's really starting to get close to the image. And that's where you have to make your decision, where you want to stop. Like right here, when I come in here, I really like how this gets lighter here next to his chin, and then darkens up as it goes up here. You're still able to see the shape of his head right here, and even up here. And that actually darkens up a little bit behind his ear. So when you're doing this, you got to remember, how far do you want to take it? What do you want to do with it? You could go to a heavier grade pencil and get it even more so. But as you can see, it's turning out pretty good. And again, it's still a sketch. It's not, you know, it's like right here. I can take this down. I'm just going to follow the grain of to the edge of the paper or the edge of my border. I'm not going to really, so if I want to darken that up here, you know, all these little things are just extras. But you have to understand what was your purpose in doing this sketch anyway. So when you're working, you're going to be thinking about how far you want to take it, what do you want it to look like, how close you want it to be to the original. Myself, you know, the only reason why I would do this is for this class. I'm a contemporary painter, so for me it's never about making it perfect. It's about how many values can I see? How many values can you see? How many of these little tiny things, these little nuances do you see in the sketch that I'm going to come in here and you notice I'm using just kind of a swirling motion with my pencil. And like I said, pretty soon these pencil lines kind of go away in lieu of what you're seeing here. So I'm going to call this one good. Now if you wanted to, you got a gum eraser. Now the gum erasers are good for, you know, cleaning some stuff up. It doesn't take out a lot of doesn't wear on the paper type thing. If you got some high areas you want to bring up, you can do that. You know, use it to erase a few things. You know, don't try to change the dynamics of the sketch completely, but it does help you if you clean it up and those type things. So you should have something pretty close by the time you're done. And if you've done your job right, you will. But if you go in and you think you're going to come up with something perfect in the very beginning, you might want to rethink that. You want to use something like this. Use your eraser, kind of a negative. And if this one doesn't work, you got that regular eraser which takes off stuff. You know, it just depends on how far you want to take it, what you want to do. You know, all these little nuances that normally you wouldn't. So yeah, I'm thinking this is pretty, there we go. I'm going to call this one done. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this process, and you know, don't be afraid of trying this yourself. So anyway, this is Mr. Bowers with Art 1. You saw, if you watched my other 3 videos on this, you saw how we went from just a blank page to this, and I think you guys can all do it. Okay, put it to work.